Hey, welcome to the Wheels Blues podcast, episode 9 of the coronavirus pandemic that will never end. Now, on today's episode, we have, as always,
at Tin Can Blues. I'm here once again, and I can't wait to get going. Let's go, boys.
At Eric _83 and loving the quarantine life.
And at Squeed, SKW and hi.
And as always, I am Mighty Wheels.
Oh, Mighty Wheels. How can we forget you, glorious leader?
Stop feeding his ego, man.
Who's going to do it if I don't?
Nobody, and that's where it should be.
He was actually going to refrain. He was actually going to refrain because he's a malevolent dictator that doesn't need your praise.
Oh.
But now he's going to do it.
All right, guys, let's do a shot at Pink Whitney to start this bad boy off. Episode 9.
Cheers, fans.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, it's so good when it's ice cold.
You know why I'm drinking out of the bottle? Because my shots are in my cupboard and I can't reach them. Shot
I
glasses.
thought it was because you weren't thinking about tomorrow, singing Sweet Home Alabama all summer long.
I should be not thinking about tomorrow. Sweet
Hey.
Home Alabama.
Hey, Daniels, happy belated birthday. I'm glad
Yes, happy belated.
I'm glad you're in that
Thank you.
third underscore, man. Like, you get it now.
Not yet. Couple more years and I'll add that third underscore.
Yeah,
Oh,
you get
come
it. It's
on,
like a
come
chevron.
on.
He's going to get it when he's 40.
Yeah.
There's chevrons every decade.
Wait, so do I get a third underscore in like a year?
No, you get nothing. You get no
Okay.
underscores.
You have no
Nothing.
underscores in your name.
You get nothing and like it.
You know what?
You
Not,
really
not
need
only
pretentious-
does it represent my age, it also represents how many Hobies I kept down in the clink.
Wow.
Like a teardrop tattoo?
Wow.
What
Yeah,
are
let's-
what are hobies?
Homies.
Oh, I thought you said hobies. Sorry, my mistake.
That's the episode thing all over again.
And there's the first edit.
Yeah,
Off
so
and
hey,
running.
what did you get up to, Daniels, on your birthday? How old are you now?
I am old enough to where that question is inappropriate.
Wow.
Oh, I turned 37 years young.
Wow, good for you, man.
37.
37.
37.
My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
Oh, it's been a while since I've heard that.
Right? Clerks is awesome.
No.
I love that scene, and then the guy, he's like, try not to suck any dick when you go through the parking lot, and the guy just starts following her.
Right? Oh, classic.
Classic. So we just kind of Tommy and I hung out and just enjoyed the nice day as best we could,
She was a beauty day yesterday, man. I just left work in the middle of the day. I was like, oh, the sun's shining. I'm out of here.
See you later.
Did you go for like a walk in the woods or somewhere? Or
A little bit, yeah. Grabbed some sushi and a sody pop and sat by the tracks. It was nice.
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 Oh, some sody pop, eh?
Some sody pops.
Ah.
Some of that dad's root beer and some
Oh
Some
man,
sushi
Dad's
and-
root beer is delicious.
dad's root
It was
beer.
a nice time by myself listening to our podcast. Narcissist that I am.
Quality control.
Somebody's got to drive up those numbers.
Right?
Wheels, I don't think Wheels even proofreads it. I think when I send it to him, he just kind of like waits 3 hours and goes, "Yeah, it's good."
Right? He goes, oh, I'm so busy, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Just give me till tomorrow, just so he can find a better way to lie about it.
Oh, and then he
Glorious
just kind of
Leader has been busy doing other shit besides this, okay? Glorious Leader is a professional, and he takes his jobs very seriously. And when he is asked to edit and proofread, he fucking edits and proofreads. So screw all of you guys. I don't see none of you guys editing or proofreading.
Well, I think Tyson does the editing, so there's that.
Yeah, there's
You just have to listen to it, guy. And also, Tyson, look what you have created. A fucking monster.
yeah. Now he's talking to himself in the third person.
Yeah, you
You know what? I'm gonna
He
keep
will continue to do that
I'm gonna
until
keep
he
pushing
gets
this.
some respect.
I'm gonna keep pushing this, man. I'm gonna keep feeding your ego. Don't worry, man. I'm on board.
I like it. I like it. I like it. That's why we're in charge, guys. So that's why we're in charge.
Everyone just shaking their head.
I know, right?
I'm nodding my head for this. This is gonna be good.
If we didn't have a mutiny before, we're definitely gonna have one now.
Everybody-
Yeah. Well, Eric and I's podcast has been going really well, so you know.
Yeah, we have 501 views.
Oh, do you
Wow.
that? Whoa,
That's
You
impressive.
know.
That's impressive.
Bravo!
gotta-
Congratulations.
We're big in the prisons.
You gotta be pretty quality to have 500. Speaking of which, this podcast, our podcast, the Wheels Blues podcast, recently got 500 listens across all episodes posted so far.
Yeah, that's a
Very
milestone.
cool, man.
That's-
So awesome. Like, thank you everybody who listens. That's great. We really appreciate it. This is
I
We
would
feel
like
good.
to say thank you to all you 4 guys, three guys, because without you guys, this would not have hit 500 views. And you guys are laughing. I'm trying to praise you, but yeah, this doesn't happen without the 3 of you guys. And
wow.
I really appreciate
Thanks,
that you
dude.
guys are doing this with me, and it's making my weekends and my Fridays pretty awesome.
Well,
I
thanks for-
appreciate
thanks a
being
lot.
asked
Thanks a
to
lot.
do it and personally feeling responsible for strapping the rocket to this madman and shooting it to the moon. They want more underscores, I'm
It
hearing.
was that second episode, man. It was all about the second episode. That just took off from there.
I just got to argue that because I'm pretty sure it was episode 3 where this really took off there, guys. The guy that was like, we'll get him in, or will we?
Or will we?
Yeah, we stoked the fire of desire of the audience, man.
Yeah.
Is Sid gonna be on or not? And then
That's
he just
very
kind of
true.
kept taking
We
it away
flew-
from him, you know.
We spoon fed them, and then eventually they all just wanted to be a part of it.
They just Sid. We got to listen to Sid, man. You know. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. We're blown away. That's awesome. 500 might not seem like a big number to anybody, but it's a big number to me, and I think it's a big number to everybody.
It's big
Yeah.
to me. I never
Yeah.
expected that 500 people would listen to this.
If
I
you don't think
expected it
that
to happen.
500 is a big number, please turn off this podcast right now.
It's huge to us. Just let us have this one. Come
Yeah.
Huge. Dude. Don't turn off this podcast. Subscribe
Feels
and rate and smash it.
on. Smash your subscribe button. That's right.
And listen a lot more so we can get to 1,000.
Yeah.
Also, pay attention to any social media of ours if you do follow us, or if you don't follow us, because we're going to be doing a giveaway to celebrate 500 listens on the social media in the next week. So just
Yes.
keep an eye on it. Keep your eyes peeled, and we're going to be putting something out pretty soon.
I think I have an idea on how to do that and make it fun.
Nice. And also, as Tyson said, if you don't follow us, he should have added, well, you should
Yes.
follow all
Yeah.
our social medias.
Most
I
important.
think I did say that.
It's been said.
Well, it has now.
Now the people know.
Yeah,
So what do
keep
we
an eye
got
on
today,
that.
fellas? Sid, I'm aching.
What's
I'm
up?
dying.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been
I
playing
got a
Final
pack
Fantasy
of
7.
Rolaids in my pants. I need to hear
Whoa, buddy. Whoa.
Final Fantasy 7. I need to hear about it.
I want to hear about it too. I'm very excited. I don't have the game. I played the old game like a ton. I've beat it, I think, 3 times with different members of the team and all that kind of stuff. And I've completed like almost everything on it. There isn't much I haven't done aside from that fucking ruby weapon.
Oh,
But
see, Ruby Weapon's easy, man. It's Emerald I can't beat.
really, I can
Mhm.
beat Emerald Weapon. I don't know. I think I did it with a lot of mime and a lot of final attack.
Dude, you want Phoenix for that Ruby Weapon,
Yeah.
man, because it kills. You start with your outside teammates dead already.
Yeah.
And then it does that attack that kills them, and then you use Phoenix.
Yeah, because I do final attack Phoenix. I always paired it like that so that no matter what your final attack was, it brought everybody back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I want to hear about it. I'd like to hear about it with as little spoilers as possible. But
Oh, yeah.
I know you're that kind of guy, so I'm not too worried. Whatever you want to say, let's hear it, man.
Yeah, dude, I am sucked right back in. I don't feel like I've been sucked into a game like this. Well, I guess the last one would have been the Resident Evil 2 remake. And I find it funny. I'm finding such an attachment to these old PS1 games that I loved absolutely. And yeah, it's like PS1 games sucked me in like that, and then it took to them remaking those games to suck me back in. Like, I was up till 3:30 in the morning last night because I was in the Sector 5 Mako reactor, and I couldn't not finish. I had to get to where you meet Aerith, and I'm like, well, work's gonna be brutal, but I just couldn't stop. I was sucked in so much. The music is the same, but like better. It's not MIDI anymore. It's excellent. You can collect discs too, like music discs, and play them on the jukebox. You got like the gold saucer theme and stuff. It's awesome. I put about 15 hours in so far, like 5 hours a day since I got it.
Is it vastly different from the original Final Fantasy VII?
There's a lot of extra, but it's not. It doesn't feel out of place. It's a very different style of game as well. It's a linear action RPG as opposed to like an open world random battle kind of thing. But they kind of started doing that in Final Fantasy X anyway, so I wouldn't expect it to be drastically different from what they used to do. If they just made a pretty
that
time battle.
Me.
It's like Crisis Core, Tyson. You won't be that disappointed.
I know, but like there's a soft spot in my heart for this game, and I really was hoping for like a world map where you run around and.
Well, that might be a thing. It's just you don't. As far as I know, you don't even leave Midgar in this game. So I haven't gotten to the end yet. So I'm about.
Okay.
It's chapter too, like it's episodic. So
yeah.
I'm on like chapter 8, but you can go back and replay any chapters. So I'm kind of thinking there won't be a world map ever, but they had an open world in Final Fantasy 15 where it was kind of linear, but it gave you the feel of an open world. Like you'd hop in the car and drive on roads to get to different towns, and it would just kind of give you the illusion of an open world. That worked quite well.
Because I want to be able to there was a spot. It was like the forest. There was I can't even remember what it was, but there's like some forest before you go to the Temple of the Ancients. And I used to level up like crazy there, but I would go back there and level up I would level up because somewhere in there you could get a ton of XP, and I would level up and even get mastered materia before I was even out of the first disc.
Like first disc, so it wouldn't be Bone Village.
No, it's like some forest. I should have
on the first continent. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I can't remember what it is, but some forest. It's not like the secret forest where you can get lost and it's a maze. It's
no, that's you gotta.
It's some other one. And you can run around there, and I leveled up. That's how I did it. Like all 3 times I beat the game.
Yeah, see, I just kind of pushed through the beginning bit until I got the high wind, and then I'd go and do all my leveling, and I wouldn't even worry about leveling up materia until I could get into the North Cave and fight the pots. Just feed them elixirs with W item and just like build that AP.
Or you get those like the 3 fireballs. There's 3 fire.
Yeah, and no, you get the pots, right? The pot with the little handle and the lid.
Yeah, you can do those too, but there's also 3 fireballs, and those give you like 1,400 AP or something like that.
I always just hit the pots with elixirs. Because like W item, it doesn't matter. You just throw elixirs away.
Yeah, you don't even care about elixirs.
I'm enjoying the materia. It's great to have that back. I always like that. I enjoyed the junction system in 8 as well, but you upgrade your weapons, so you can every time you gain a level, you get skill points that you can affix to your weapon, which unlocks more materia slots, gives you better damage, damage percentage and MP and HP percentage.
Is materia like it makes your weapon stronger? It's like better metal or better like gold. Or
it's like the
magic.
life force of the planet concentrated into an orb, and it gives you special abilities. There's summon materia, which are red. You get healing materia, which are green.
Oh, is that what all those little orbs are that like pop out of everything when you like hit stuff in the game?
No, that's the Mako energy. Because so the whole
Mako
thing about Final Fantasy VII is it's like eco-terrorists going, hey, this big corporation's literally sucking the lifeblood of the planet to make electricity and energy, right? And it is literally the lifeblood. So all the Mako that they're sucking up is literally the spirit of everything. Everything is made of like Mako. Your life is Mako energy, and when you die, that energy returns to the planet, and Shinra's just sucking it up and basically killing the planet as well as all life on it, because they're kind of synonymous, right? And so because you're talking about the demo when they turn to green, right? That's just them returning to the light, returning to the planet.
are you noticing things that maybe you forgot about since the last time you played it, and with it being remastered, and whatnot, where you're just like, oh fuck, like.
Well, first, I'd say it's not even a remaster; it's legit a reimagining. Like they're following the same kind of story, but there's a whole chapter where you're with one of the members of Avalanche that is only kind of a part character in the original game. So there's like a whole hour-long gameplay and story line that you go off with Jesse from Avalanche, and it was like I was going, whoa, this is fucking weird, but I really enjoyed like the expansion of the characters. And
Sweet.
Apparently this game's like 30 to 40 hours and it doesn't leave Midgar, and so far I'm okay with that because it expands the story. The characters they feel true to their original selves. The voice acting is top notch. There's only one thing that I thought was pretty weird. They use Unreal Engine, and at one point in time you've got like a kind of like a room in a motel in the Sector 7 slums, and the door is just so shitty looking. It's so low res and it just bothers me. It's like everything's so pretty, and then like I sent that screenshot to the group of me like overlooking the Sector 5 slums and the big like the plate of Midgard.
Yeah, it looked really nice.
It's a beautiful game, except for that door.
That must have been the last thing they tried to render, and they just ran out of time. And they're like, "Fuck it, nobody's going to care about this."
They've had 7 years to do this. They didn't run out of time.
I don't know.
Good
man.
enough.
I'm assuming video games are pretty long, arduous processes.
Yeah, I feel like if this game would have failed, Square would be in a little bit of. They'd be in a bit of trouble. This has been a mess of a game. Like they had another studio developing it, and then like for 2 or 3 years, and then they went in and were like, what the fuck are you guys making? Nope, scrap this all, you're fired, and restarted it internally, which you should never, like, it's working for Resident Evil, doing the remakes externally, because they have Capcom dudes and people who have been a part of the series working with these other, like, these companies that they're hiring, like M2, is ex-Capcom employees, so they're going to stay as true to it as they can. But like, with something like Final Fantasy VII, if you don't handle that internally, that is one of the most beloved games for my generation. Older generations are probably Final Fantasy VI is the best, but seven introduced me to the Final Fantasy series. Like I'd seen people playing it on Super Nintendo and whatnot, like 3, which is 6, but like
7.
I never really got into it until 7.
7 was the big boy, and then after that, I think I skipped 8 and I played 9, and then I went back and I played 5 or something, and.
Yeah, I'm playing the PSP remake of 3 right now, which is pretty cool. It's just kind of made it not so 8-bit. But like, when I was thinking about last night and how I shouldn't have stayed up so late playing that game, I was just remembering back when I like got Final Fantasy 8 and brought it home and plugged it in, and like, you know, my little PS1 and my little 13-inch TV in the corner of the living room, and just staying up till like 3 a.m. just playing the first disc of that. And yeah, no, I really, really, really like the remake. I'm very, very happy with it so far. It's a different game, but it's
out of the remakes that you've played recently. Like, do you think the Resident Evil remakes are better, or the Final Fantasy remake has been done better?
Well, I'll have to beat the Final Fantasy VII remake, but I feel like so far it feels like a more complete and honorific piece. Like honoring the original game, whereas like Resident Evil 2, they kind of pushed it out, and the scenarios aren't this, like the 2 separate scenarios kind of play out exactly the same in Resident Evil 2 remake, which they didn't in the original Resident Evil. And like Resident Evil 3 got rid of a lot of sections and cool stuff, so like it's not, none of these reimaginings, I think is a better word, are really 100% with the source material, but so far I'm finding Final Fantasy VII to be at least a little more, like I said, honorific or true to the source material.
Interesting.
I suppose it's similar to like movies like that get remade. A lot of them like expand and like flesh out things that like the original movie wouldn't have tackled or whatever. It seems
like the Grinch, like Jim Carrey in the live action Grinch. That's
I don't feel like too far. This is
Peter Jackson King Kong is like 14 hours long.
Yeah, the original's better.
Yeah, it is better, but I still like the Peter Jackson King Kong. He fights like 4 dinosaurs. Yeah.
for like an hour long. It's just drawn
amazing.
out. It's just like the Lord of the Rings movies. Every battle scene is like, this doesn't need to be fucking 4 hours long.
It's important to the story that Legolas rides people down staircases like a skateboard. It's important to the story.
Does he actually do that in one of the?
Yeah. There is actually a scene where he like rides a dead body down a staircase at the Battle of Helm's Deep like a skateboard.
Classic Legolas.
Yeah.
So yeah, in short, Final Fantasy VII Remake is awesome, especially for those who have played Crisis Core and enjoyed it, because the combat's like that, except it's a little more like it gets hectic sometimes watching your other characters, and sometimes they behave like fucking idiots, and it's just like, what are you doing? You're just standing in the corner getting beat. But I'm enjoying it a lot. Like,
so would you recommend that people stuck at home and running low on money, would this is a good investment for them?
Well, I don't think anyone running low on money should be buying video games.
That's fair point. What if it's all they have?
We're not all like, not everyone in the world is getting stimulus packages from the government that's paying their bills.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very happy with my two recent reimagining purchases, Resident Evil 3 and Final Fantasy 7.
Good.
And it's probably, they could be a lot of nostalgia glasses, but like another podcast I listened to, the guy was really hesitant about the action combat, like our good friend Tyson here. And once he started actually playing the game and experiencing it, his mind was instantly changed. So
I love that turn-based. I just love that turn-based shit.
I know, but you're the one who showed me Crisis Core and talked it up and praised it. So just think of it like that, and I highly recommend playing.
Why do you like the turn-based combat? Like, this is for everybody. I don't really get that turn-based combat
because you can strategize everything. Like, before you go into a battle, like especially if you've died a few times in that one boss or that one battle you're trying to beat. Now, and you've got all this material, you're like rearranging. Okay, I want like final attack with Phoenix, and I want added effect with this, and I want like double cut with Cloud, so that
hasn't gone away though.
Okay, yeah, but like, can you like? But how
like your action, and then when the menu comes up, it's super slow mo, and you can switch between your characters. Once their ATBs are filled, you can switch and make them do certain attacks. Like you're still doing that ATB, but there's just action going on during it. Like you attack, your ATB fills faster. You get damage, your limit bar fills, and then once your ATB gauge is filled, or once your limit bar is filled, like you press L2 and you can switch to a character that you're not controlling and give them commands, make them use items or magic or summon materials, because each person you have one summon materia slot, and you can equip one summon materia per character, and it just kind of shows up when you're having a hard battle. And then you can use your ATB thing. Yeah, I find it kind of weird as well, but I get how they do it, because then the enemy comes, or the summon comes and fights with you in battle. Okay. I just fought Shiva in a VR battle thing for this guy doing research. You know how they did the materia research in Crisis Core?
Yeah, I can't remember a whole lot about it, but
well, there's like that. Yeah, like Hojo's doing the materia research in Crisis Core. So there's this kid that's like, he's in all like he's always in one of the towns, and you can like, you do like kind of mini quests for him, and he gives you materia. He develops materia for you, and he does summon materia. So I just fought Shiva, and I luckily had Ifrit, and I got into enough hot water with her that Ifrit came out, and it was like, holy crap, sweet. So I'd save all my ATBs to use Ifrit's attacks, and I finally beat her, because without that, I was struggling hard.
Did I hear you say that you did a battle in VR? Like, is that virtual reality, or is that like a virtual reality simulator in the game?
It's in the game. It's to collect battle data.
Okay.
Tyson, this is something I really hope you can just take your cynic glasses off and enjoy for what it is.
Well, I'll probably give it a go. I'm probably gonna wait because right now the price of it is so crazy that I'm not gonna buy it right now.
Yeah, and if you keep your hands clean, I'll lend you the art book.
Yeah. I'll try not to. Well, see, that's what I want. I want that deluxe because I want the art book.
Yeah,
how is the art book?
Only
that
this
would be
big,
something.
But it's hardcover, which is nice.
Okay.
It's only like that.
Yeah, it's the same size as the game case, right? Because it comes in like the box, It comes with like a regular plastic case and a steel book because I don't personally like steel books on my shelf because they're bigger, and it bothers me seeing that one game case taller than the others.
Yeah, you know what? I'm because of how much I love the game, I'm probably going to give it a good honest go, and I'll probably the first whatever if this version, like this part of the remake, is only one of 3 parts or however the hell they're going to do it, I'll probably get to the end of it and then I'll make a choice from there.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna give it a go because this game is a huge part of my life from forever.
Exactly, dude. So, and I'm feeling really good when I play it. I'm remembering things. I'm enjoying like the reimagining, the bigger storyline. Like it's come to it with an open mind and kind of maybe just take off the nostalgia glasses and see it as a new part of the Final Fantasy VII world.
I understand that like that turn-based combat system was a product of the time and like the technology limitations. Like you can't have 40, there just wasn't like the processing power to have 40 people on the screen at one time, right? So you had to have everything kind of stopped and slow and one person attack and only have 2 or 3 enemies on the screen at one time.
Yeah, like I got another JRPG not long ago, and it's action. It's action turn-based, just like this is. I think it's just the way turn-based systems work now.
Yeah, like I understand why a developer right now with like how video games are and like how realistic and how fast they move, like how if you release a game with turn-based combat and you release it and anybody who's not familiar or hasn't played a lot of turn-based combat games is kind of going to go, what the hell? Like,
well, there's a big market for tactics style games, right? Like Final Fantasy Tactics.
And see, I didn't like those
games
ones.
Like that out. Yeah, but that's super turn based, including your movements, right? It's more like chess. But like there's a few games like that out, but like, people want those games, but people
those games are still crazy popular in Japan, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, that's what, like, this is a JRPG, but it's just an action JRPG, but it's still a JRPG. Like, it's super anime sometimes.
Yeah.
And like Cloud's just such an aloof jerk. It was so satisfying to see him like smile in this one scene when they're making jokes. He's just kind of like, and then it's just, were you smiling? Whatever.
Whatever.
Do you know what I would like to see them remake or reimagine? Metal Gear Solid. I think it's Snake Eater.
Oh yeah, MGS3.
Where
your big boss in the '60s during the Cold War.
Oh, cool.
That's the one where you got to fight like all those different, like the Sorrow and fucking yeah. I
that's a
love
good
that game,
that's
and
a solid game.
Yeah. And that's one of those games that has like kind of like the weirdo controls that would normally turn me off. Like
they've got that tank control shit. But you know what? I can tell you that's not going to happen anytime soon because Kojima is the mastermind behind that, and him and Konami are like not on speaking terms. So it's just like people who are hopeful for a good game from Konami. Period. They're just probably barking up the wrong fucking tree.
The only one I ever
just
played.
Release? Didn't they? Oh no, I guess that's Capcom. I was gonna say, didn't that like a Street Fighter just get like reissued or something?
Capcom is in a renaissance right now, man. Capcom is just killing it in the gaming industry. They're doing great. Now, Konami owns a bunch of health clubs and gyms, so they don't fucking care. And pachinko machines. They had like a video release of like Silent Hill 2, and it's all like HD and super pretty and high-res graphics, and then it pans out and it's for a fucking pachinko machine. It's just like, sweet, cool, yeah, every Silent Hill fan is going to flock to Japan and go to a Konami fucking resort and gamble on set. No. They want to play James Sunderland dealing with like the shit of killing his wife and his weird sexual desires.
Did you see today, Sid, that the guy who played Haddad,
the original Leon,
Leon Kennedy, he died
at
today,
like 56.
Yeah, it's super young.
Yeah, man, that was my first fucking one of my first video game heroes was Leon Kennedy.
Was it?
Man, seeing people like die in their 60s is depressing because I'm gonna be like 39.
Yeah,
That's
see, I
like-
know I'm going to
that's-
die in my 60s, but I've come to terms with that like over the last 15 years of alcohol and drug abuse.
I'm hoping that I can turn my body into a cyborg for real.
Well, you're
And I
halfway
will,
there.
and I will never die. I
Just
know,
gonna
right?
say that.
I
I'm
know,
only
right?
25 years from that age.
I know, right? Yeah, man. You gotta friggin' be worried there.
When you say it like that, it's like when you're like, I'm 35, you're like, I got lots of time, and then I'm only 25 from 60. You're like, ooh, fuck.
It's
I mean, 60
fucking
is
true.
not
man.
old. Like 60 is not old.
No. not
That's
at
a
all.
long time, though. Like
I guess
25
so.
years is a really long. See, because seeing as how it was my birthday, I always got a little introspective. I don't even think I said the number 37 at all yesterday,
No.
because it's like, it can mess with you. But the more I think about it, it's like, wow, like 37 years was a long time. Very, very long time. People say like, oh, life is short. And I'm like, no, this is very much drug out.
Yeah, but it's like it's only short. It seems short because I think as the longer it goes, the faster it goes, and then
Yeah,
all of a
because
sudden,
it's all relative, right?
yeah, like all of a sudden, like there's like, at first when you turn 20 years is your entire life. When you turn 40, 20 years is only half your life, and then
Yeah.
and it's so on until you're like, like my grandmother who's like 91 years old, and she's like, I've seen it all. Everyone I know is dead. She's like, man, I've had a good life for you.
I always get introspective just because I always worried that I'm gonna like not do everything that I want to do before I die.
You got to accept that
worries me.
reality
Yeah,
because you know it's not going to happen.
that's true. It is, and that makes me kind of sad and depressed. There you go. Cheers.
Shots.
Yeah, I
All
saw Eric pouring one.
All right.
Okay. Twist.
I'm
my
just going to
fucking
keep the
arm,
Pink
boys.
Whitney on the table now. It's stupid getting up to the freezer.
Oh
every
fuck!
time.
That was a lot more Pink Whitney than I wanted to pour.
Wow, you need
Oh,
Was
it.
it
it's
though?
never
Was
more
it
than you
though?
wanted to pour.
Here.
That's actually a good slogan for them. It's never more than you wanted to pour.
It fucking rhymes.
I don't think you can say that stuff anymore. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
They don't care. They didn't fucking email us back. They're not interested in our support or
Oh, we'll keep
endorsement.
drinking it.
I'm gonna keep drinking it because it's good shit.
I don't know.
That's
I think
all
when I'm done this bottle, I'm gonna go back to rum.
What?
When I'm done this bottle,
Not
I'm
on
gonna go back to
Friday
rum.
nights.
Yeah, not on
Have
Friday
you been
nights.
just drinking Pink Whitney every day now? Actually, I don't know.
Well,
I
now
mean,
wait
this
a
is
minute.
This is
What
the
kind of
same
rum?
bottle from when we were here. Appleton's.
Really? I drink one of these every
Oh.
Friday.
Appleton's is
You drink
pretty
a
good.
whole, yeah. Well, only like 2/3 of my body works. So, and
Yeah,
I
well,
gotta
the shitty 2/3, I guess.
clearly.
You can't give up the Pink Whitney, man. It's part of the pod now. It's what
Yeah,
it
if you don't drink it when we're talking, then you don't talk.
They're not paying us to
Doesn't
drink
matter.
their liquor.
we drink it because we love it.
Well, it's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all right.
I
Yeah.
don't hate
I
it.
love
Ah.
Appleton's rum.
You know what?
Pink
That's-
Whitney walked into the room, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, great, Pink Whitney's here." I'd be like, "Oh, hey, cool, look, Pink Whitney showed up."
I'd be like,
Hey, fuck,
man,
I'll have a
I
shot
wish
of
you
that.
looked
Sounds
like
good."
Appleton's rum.
Appleton's rum is super smooth and
Oh,
was
so
like the
good.
drink of my late teenage years.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Hell yeah, it was, man.
Fuck. Appleton's rum is good though. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know-
Appleton's, you hear that? Appleton's rum is delicious.
Do you
We're
guys
trying
do you
to-
guys think of a particular person when you think of Pink Whitney? Like, did you guys know a Whitney, and is there one that comes to mind whenever you say that name or think about that bottle?
yeah, Ryan Whitney, a
Ugh,
hockey player.
nice. That's such
you
a
know.
hard on for dudes. It's ridiculous.
Man, it's his. Okay, Pink Whitney is called Pink Whitney because Ryan Whitney's favorite drink was vodka mixed with pink lemonade.
Yeah, well, as someone who doesn't care,
You
but
make you get less cool, man.
Are you
You
saying
get
you-
less cool?
no, I get reminded of this girl that I knew as this Whitney girl that I knew, and she was just like this kind of like stuck up, pretentious rich bitch. And I just anytime I'm like, Pink Whitney, that's just.
Well, you want
I
that?
enjoy the drink,
Yeah.
but I do not think
Yeah,
of a manly hockey player punching people in the mouth when I drink this. I just
I've known
like
some pretty
a pretentious pretty
Whitneys,
girl
too.
from like elementary school.
Yeah.
Is this the millennial version of an Arnold Palmer? Is that what this is?
It might be.
I thought a porn star was the millennial
what?
version of the Arnold.
That's
Palmer.
okay.
No,
You know what?
that's old school stuff, and we're Zennials at least, or
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's
Zennials. So
Xennials, yeah. At C Potterface has already clued us in on this.
about
Thankfully.
the examinals. Yeah.
Yep, he already clued us in.
Thankfully.
Thankfully, he did. This is no longer a debate. We've sorted it. Well, he did.
Thanks, C. Potter
So
face.
we're Xennials.
I was actually surprised I didn't see Ad Shroot One chiming up on anything from the last episode. We must have been.
No, he did.
Yeah,
he
he chimed in. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I guess I should probably unmute him from time to time.
just the day before we record, maybe.
Yeah. What did he say? I totally missed it.
I'm getting to it right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
'Cause I feel like I got off really easy with my lambasting of Tim Burton. And his...
Oh man, dude, that was
Dude,
cracking me up
he
today at work.
didn't even fucking talk about that. Yeah, nobody lambasted you for that.
Yeah, I'm surprised I got out of that. I thought I'd be spitting chiclets as I look at the Pink Whitney bottle.
Yeah,
Nice pull.
at Shoot One said fact check. Eric and I both had 92 and 93 World Series sweaters, and at Shoot One also had a 92 frame team photo, which he linked in the tweet. Then he said, "It's the best show so far, boys. Hilarious." Eric all teed up on Gronk. And then he said, "I don't know if Eric
we did
remembers."
go off on Gronk.
We go. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He said,
Go off on Gronk.
"I don't know if Eric remembers him and I coming out of Turtles in '90 throwing pure turtle spin kicks. We saw that in the falls, and I'm pretty sure."
Spin kick, Daniels. I want to see you do a spin kick when we're allowed to leave the house.
And,
Well, hopefully we're never allowed to leave the house.
and he said that I'm correct. I was correct. Krang is in the new movie, and actually, he said the newest Michael Bay Ninja Turtles was kind of a love letter to the cartoon, which kind of makes me want to watch it.
It's not, and he's wrong.
Oh well,
Whoa.
you can deal with that shoe one.
Yeah,
I
I will. I'll add that onto the Smallville pile that I'm going to deal with when he gets over here.
And then he said, fact check, Spielberg had no involvement in Forrest Gump. And then he said, fact
Isn't he
check
the
on
executive producer?
no involvement,
Yeah,
according to the
wasn't
fact
he?
checker, the official fucking fact checker. So
All right.
I don't question the official fact checker. And then he said, fact check on Ernest. So I know the character Ernest and Vern, who he references, started in TV commercials, but which product I can't recall. But at Tin Can Blues, I am right. The first IMDb credit for Ernest is Ernest Goes to Camp. That's what I said.
Yeah, it was like 86.
Yep. So yeah, he had a lot of fact checks, man.
How the fuck did I miss all this?
Fuck.
It's hard to follow sometimes. I still don't understand Twitter though because I'm old and lame.
Yeah,
Well, no, because it would have popped up on my little bell thing.
Yeah,
I thought
because
you
I
just
get
said
when he
neuter.
posts anything, like he'll post something that I don't care about, and I'll be like, get a
Well, I
notification.
follow too many people to see like tweets as they happen. I need to do a little house
subscribe to
cleaning.
him or whatever though. Like I want notifications from him and from like our podcast and C Potter, the people that actually interact with us.
I only get notifications from anybody who actually directly like replies to something I said or replies to one of my replies or that kind of thing. That's the only time I get an alert. So because he tags your at Shoot Run, he tags all of us and the podcast. So I get it on like three Twitter accounts. So I get them all. I read them. But yeah,
I
he was
try to read them too. I guess I don't know. I guess I was asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, Instagram guy.
That's what happens when you live under a
Look, he's not
COVID
even- look at
regime,
this.
man. It's
He's not even listening. Yeah, it's been quite a time, man. Like I had to go to work a couple of times, and actually I worked like a full day this
You had to
week.
go to work again this week.
Yeah, I worked 2 days this week, and I worked like a full day, and then I worked like just like a couple hours.
What
But,
were
like,
you doing? Like, what did you have to do this week?
Oh man, I did a ton of shit one day. I put in a tub.
I bet you did.
Oh yeah, I put in a tub. I moved a bunch of water lines. I moved a bunch of drain lines, and I oh fuck that. That's it. But it's a fucking. At the end of the day, it's a lot of work.
Were you working at my boss's place yesterday?
No,
Oh, your van was outside.
Oh, I was working at Sam's across the street.
Ah, okay. Because I was like, Tyson's here. I'm just coming here to clock out and close the windows so I can leave and enjoy the sun.
Yeah,
And
no,
I was like really looking forward to being able to rub it in your face.
yeah, no, I was not there.
Yeah,
I was across the street. But yeah, like it was a lot of work where I was, and that's where I like our esteemed colleague at Squeed, he's took the asbestos abatement course. And so anytime I encounter, like, it's construction, man, you encounter some stuff sometimes that you're just not sure of. So I was cutting in a bath fan in a ceiling in probably a 1970s building. And so when the insulation started falling out, and I went, you know, that looks a little bit like, well, I went like, that looks a little bit like vermiculite. Like, I've seen vermiculite and I've seen not vermiculite. And I don't, if you put both in front of me, I wouldn't know the difference right now, but I've seen them both and I kind of went, that looks a little asbestos-y. So yeah, I went and got my mask, and that's when I sent you all the pictures, and you were kind enough to reply that I was most likely safe to continue on cutting.
Yeah, I'd say it was like an 80 to 90%. That was just it wasn't vermiculite. It kind of looked suspicious, but it's really hard to tell just from a picture. Like, the feel of it matters, and like also anytime you're working in an attic around insulation, especially someplace that's 50 years old, wear a fucking mask regardless. Yeah. Like, just you know, keep your filters updated, and anytime you're working in an environment like that, it doesn't matter if it's clean, there's no asbestos, you're also breathing in 50 years of dirt and dust.
Yeah, and dust and fiberglass and
fucking feces,
yeah, so like,
and who knows what. So always wear a mask in those situations.
I poked a hole in the ceiling, and like, you know, sometimes stuff isn't going to start just falling out of the hole if it's like, you know, just like Pink Panthers, you know, that Pink Panther stuff. But like, if you poke a hole, like I poked a hole and I cut a little bit, and it was like immediately just like shit falling out of the ceiling, and I went, let's go get some masks. Like, this is going to be interesting. Dude, and
anytime, man, if I work with Roxol for too long, I get nosebleeds just because it gets into you.
Yeah.
Like, you should always working in attics, wear a mask.
Yeah.
Hey, Tyson,
yes.
Is there like a specialized like a cleaner that you use for cleaning, like, say, a shower? Like, I know how to clean a shower. I know about cleaning products, but you're a plumber, so I figured there was like a specific.
But he's a plumber.
I don't clean showers, but
dude, nobody pays people $100 an hour to clean up their mess.
Is that what a plumber does?
Most of the time,
come over and clean my shower or plumb my bathroom.
Listen, this is a serious inquiry.
Okay,
yeah, it must be something that's
so you're looking to get rid of like any like the rusty sort of stains, right?
Yeah,
CLR, buddy. CLR, that'll do it.
That's it.
Yep,
it doesn't do it. I've used CLR, and you're wrong.
Well, you don't know how to use it right.
Oh,
fucking let her sit, bud, for a long time.
There's also acid that you can get. What is it called? I can't remember. There's an acid you can buy at Home Hardware. Just don't breathe it or touch it.
Real acid?
It is real acid. Muriatic acid.
Muriatic.
So I want to see goggles on, people.
See, these were helpful responses. We did not need to
do not buy that and use it. Do not buy it and use it. Jesus Christ, you'll put an eye out.
Oh.
Unless you're wearing your safety goggles.
The goggles do nothing.
Goggles. Yeah, no. Like, people most of the time don't like. I will clean up if I'm working somewhere because it's just disrespectful to be where you've been working.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, if it's a big destruction of the place, the most of the time they're like, you're a lot of money to clean this up, so.
That's what GCs and laborers are for.
Yeah.
That's
like,
what
usually,
or the homeowner. Like, a lot of times, a homeowner will be like, "No, I don't want you cleaning up because you'll be here for an hour, and you're getting billed out at what, like $100 and something an hour."
I have no idea what I'm getting billed out as.
But they do.
You probably have a better idea than me. Yeah.
But like, they don't want someone cleaning for that.
Yeah.
You know,
I would imagine.
I don't blame them.
I would imagine it's not. It would be worth it for them just to do it themselves, probably.
I know Joseph isn't listening to this, but shout out to him. He almost always cleans up his fucking wire trimmings because Sparkies are the worst for it.
Sparkies are so
can
bad.
Leave little pieces. They just, because they have so many little bits of
like they're stripping wires and cutting that, like all that paper that's in the BX wire. They just throw it everywhere.
they're like, hey, I'm making twice as much money as you, and see ya, fuck off, clean up my shit.
You know what? Usually when I'm
Joey
sweeping up,
is awesome.
Usually when I'm sweeping up my shit, I'm like, ah, fuck, here's a bunch of fucking BX fucking like
right.
Like I just like sweep it up with my
The
shit.
fucking punch outs from electrical boxes,
Yeah.
those things don't fucking sweep.
No, they're like
You got a pocket
to the
full of them by
ground.
the end
Yeah.
of the fucking day, man. That's one thing I hate about being a general contractor is like you don't think there's a lot on the plate of someone who's not a trade until you're like in charge of a job, and everything isn't. You have to deal with everything. There are days where I run around and I've got one task and I'm there for 9 hours and I get nothing done of my own work to do because I'm like working with sub trades or like, oh, at the end of the day, everyone's gone. It's a fucking disaster. I have to clean up now, you know, like. Ugh.
The best thing is when you start working with like other trades or other contractors that like where you're like-minded about that kind of shit. Because like when I was working at your boss's house with you and Aiden and like fucking lots of other people there, but pretty much I think Aiden was the guy running the show. He would go, okay, like I want a clean site, and I go, well, I want a fucking clean site too. I don't like having a fucking messy site. So at the end of the day, like 4:00, you know, instead of like just fucking off at 5:00 and leaving shit a complete fucking disaster, we would all start cleaning up at like, you know, 4:15 or something like that. And we'd be shooting the shit and all this kind of stuff. You know, it's nice when you're like-minded like that because the whole job site runs smoothly when everybody wants a clean job site and everybody knows you're not fucking around just picking up sticks and you're fucking trying to keep the job site clean. Everybody,
you show up to a job site the next morning and it's a fucking disaster. That motivation gets cut in half.
Yeah,
you go in the next day and it's like, okay, sweet, it's clean, it's tidy, the tools are organized. You're not looking for shit. Your day becomes okay. Good. Here's 8 hours of an hour and a half of fucking around looking for stuff, having to clean up where you're working. Or it goes straight into work. 8:00, you have your little tailboard for 10 minutes. Everyone gets to work. At the end of the day, everyone spends half an hour, 15 minutes, really, if it's all hands on deck. 10, 15 minutes to clean a job site if you've got, even with some trades.
It's not hard. Like, if you just, like, how much do you really get done between 4:30 and 5:00 anyway? Because at 4:30, you're already starting to check out because it's almost the end of the day.
That's when work accidents happen, man. That's when I cut my fingertip off. Like, that's when you're thinking about anything else.
It's 4:30, drop the tools and start cleaning up. Put your tools away nice, like put it all away properly so you like don't just fucking throw it in your tool bag. Put your tools away properly. On charge. Yeah, put your batteries on charge, put all your shit, sweep the room so it's not fucking when you walk in there it looks shit, you know, like even like it's good practice because if you're working at a customer's house and you're in their like a construction site is messy by nature, just how it is. But if you're working at a customer's house and at 5:30 and all the construction workers are gone and they walk downstairs and it's fucking spickety span clean, they're like,
you know who gets recommended? You know who gets appreciated and respected? that people, like, man, before I became like a foreman, I'd be working on jobs and people would just drop their tools and like, okay, sweet. And I'd be sitting there like finishing up my task. Everyone would be sitting in the parking lot. And then I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to clean up. And then I'd come down and I'd see like there's shit in the parking lot. And it's like, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're just waiting for you to finish. It's like, well, there's fucking work to do. I wasn't in a position where I could be like, well, who's on the magnet? Who's sweeping? Who's doing this? This place looks like shit. This is a functioning hotel. We can't just like, oh, well, be here tomorrow, whatever. It doesn't fucking work that way when it's open to the public. You can't do that. And like, man, like it's brutal. Being
you have a lot of lazy people on your sites then that don't want to.
None of them work for us anymore.
No, okay. That's fair.
No. So Tyson.
Yes, sir.
How's that Apocalypse Now viewing coming?
I looked at it on iTunes again.
Oh my god!
You know what? If Amazon wasn't delaying shipments, I would buy that fucking movie for you so you could watch it. But since it'll sit in Mississauga for a week or so, I'm not going to bother.
It's not like you'd ever watch it if
I'm going to watch it. It's just a matter of time.
You could have watched it like 1.5 times by now in the last 2 weeks.
You could easily watched it 1.5 times.
Well, I don't know. It's about what, isn't it? It's about like.
It's 3 hours. It's about
120.
You know what? That's really what's turning me off about it. is like, fuck, I got to dedicate like a shit. It's not like that's 9:30. I'll throw it on. You know, it's like 9:30. Well, fuck, I'm not throwing it on.
Watch
now.
it at 1.5 times speed.
Just like everybody listens to our.
Do you
podcast.
do that? Do you do that?
No.
What? No, I do. I can't do that with movies. I do it with podcasts sometimes because there's a few podcasts that I listen to, true crime ones, and then he grabbed and I'm just like, dude, you're talking like a fucking sloth. This is an hour and 15 minutes. I can cut it down to an hour and not be overwhelmed. Like, so, I don't know, like the Parcast podcast. I find they talk so slowly just to like get two 40-minute episodes out of one story. And it's like, you know, if you guys just did like a 55-minute podcast and spoke like regular human beings, I'd be happier.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
A conspiracy podcast, I think, is perfectly timed though. I don't know if it's the same guys, but they broadcast on the same network.
I listened to that one. That one and the villains one, I don't feel I need to listen to fast. But like cults and I can't remember the other one. I listened to too many.
That conspiracy one, its timing is just like, and their back and forth is so good.
Do you think they're gonna do an episode about the coronavirus being a fraud or fake?
Probably.
Well, they've been doing like the cults one has been doing daily cult predictions that never panned out. I feel like it's probably due to the pandemic, because any cult that was like, we're going to be succumb to a mass sickness in 2020 is just like fucking membership through the roof right now.
Wow, interesting.
Well, I don't know. Are there any cults that predicted a grand sickness in 2020? Because anyone that did is doing well.
You have to wait till like at least 2025, 2030, and then the movies will start coming out.
It will, but they'll be greatly sensationalized.
Although I remember when 9/11 happened, they waited like 5 years before.
Yeah, there was a movie, but it's America, man. Like,
because there was Flight 93, I think was the first movie.
That was pretty soon after 9/11.
Yeah,
and then, but I mean, that was more of like that was a TV movie. I don't think that was in theaters.
No, Nicolas Cage was in Flight 9/11.
No,
that's
he was
not
in
a
that
good
other
endorsement.
one.
Flight 93.
No. Nicolas Cage was in the movie was called World Trade Center.
Yeah, it was an Oliver Stone movie.
There was another one that was like Flight.
Yeah, there was. It was before.
9/11
You're right. You're right. It was before.
But I think that was a movie too.
I don't know. I know
like
the World Trade Center was like, I've never seen it, but like, you know, on principle, I didn't see it. I was like, I don't want to watch
it's not. I've seen it. It's not good for like an Oliver Stone movie.
No.
I just went like a lot of people lost their life. I'm not going to fucking watch a movie about it. Like,
oh.
Yeah, there's so
I
many
watch a war movie. I mean,
I guess I watch a war movie, but like that one hits. That one hits pretty close to home because I saw it happen.
You don't watch Apocalypse Now.
Weren't you talking last episode about how Call of Duty World War II is the shit?
Yeah,
but I said
that happened though.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like you're playing a game there.
It's different when you're blowing people up with your own fingers.
It's like it's cartoons, you know.
See, these are those lines that are drawn in the sand.
Yeah, it's a gray area, man. I don't know.
I'm okay with this, but this affects me slightly differently, so not so.
I guess
okay with it
at the time when World Trade Center came out, I just went like, nah, it's fucking distasteful, man. Like, what? Are they making a movie?
Someone made a dream about flying 740, like Dreams for PS4. They made one where you get to fly a plane at the World Trade Centers, and people reported it, and it got taken down. And I'm like, okay, first off, it was probably poorly made, so it was.
Wait, that actually happened? That's a true thing?
That's a true thing. But it was probably poorly made, because if it's someone just throwing shit together like Newgrounds did, or not Miniclip, but Newgrounds did that shit a lot.
Yeah.
Or it's just something thrown together to be offensive. But like, if it was someone taking time to like make it seem like, oh shit, I'm flying a plane into a building, then it shouldn't be taken down, because it's fucking freedom of expression. If you're going to be offended from it, don't fucking play it or watch it.
I'm assuming with all like flight simulators, you can like crash your plane. I don't know if you can crash them into a building.
Well, you can, because there's buildings.
Yeah, in like flight simulators, I guess so.
I think it's more with like a movie like World Trade Center. I don't think like someone like Oliver Stone making that movie. It's not like you know. I mean, it's you're looking for that story coming out of, you know, this tragedy of, you know, Because it's been a while since I've seen that movie, but it's about like Nick Cage, like it's a group of firefighters, right? It's about like their plight,
Well,
and they get trapped and shit. And
everyone in the States is going to want a hero movie about that, right? And if it's not going to be a straight up hero movie where it's like, yeah, America still comes out on top, then nobody's gonna have time for it.
That's what America wants. They want a movie where America is amazing and number
Oh
one.
man, they've got like 100 coronavirus hero movies lined up, probably already.
Starring
all
Tom
starring
They're probably
Tom Hanks.
man, Hollywood is probably buying up rights to fucking people's lives right now.
Absolutely, man. Fucking, they're probably buying up the rights to Donald Trump's stupid press conferences.
Oh, but I mean, but that's what Hollywood does. So like, look at a movie like Captain Phillips. Say,
Yeah, they buy
right?
the
Like
rights to that story.
That's like, yeah, they bought the rights to that story, but I mean, isn't that like a story that's worth telling? Like to get, and obviously, like, you know, certain scenes are going to be dramatized, you know, for Hollywood and blah blah blah. But you're like, are you not watching a movie like that and being like, fuck, like this guy, like, you know, like, aren't you?
Holy shit! Yeah.
Movies are supposed to make you feel.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so then there's really no subject matter that should be like off
absolutely
the table,
not. Absolutely not. We've had movies about the Holocaust.
Yeah.
We've had movies about like Catholic priests and, you know, their shenanigans.
Yeah.
These are I mean, you know, if you're going in to World Trade Center being like, you know, I know what I'm here to see, you know, then you're a piece of shit and you shouldn't be at that movie.
Yes.
You know, but if you're going in being like, you know, like this shit happened and we need to know that this shit happened so that we can convey to, you know, the next generation, you know, this is, you know, like this shit happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a director like Oliver Stone, who, you know, isn't going to bullshit you. I mean, I just didn't like it just because the way it was shot. And I mean,
but you know, like I like a lot of weird art house movies that make me feel really, really uncomfortable. And there are ones where I've gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, this is not for me. I do not want to view this. And the subject matter isn't even necessarily something that's like, you know, aggrandizing tragedy or anything. Sometimes it can be so simple as like the way two humans interact with each other that just is so off-putting,
right,
or so sick, or the way someone feels. You know, like we consume this media for an emotional response, and if you don't like the emotional response, it doesn't mean that it's bad outright or shouldn't be viewed. It just means that it's not for you, and there's nothing wrong with accepting that it might be for some people, but it's not for you.
There's apparently a war movie, and it's not like Saving Private Ryan or any Hollywood thing. It's called Come and See, and I think it's out of Russia or something like that. And it's, hang on, I'll try and figure it out. But I think it's out of Russia. But it's apparently like the most brutal movie anybody's ever seen about World War II.
Okay.
I would know.
And I haven't. I was like, but you can't find it. Like, it's like, good luck finding it. Like, you got
1985 war drama, 2.5 hours long, 8.3 on IMDb, 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's apparently pretty damn good, but it's apparently disgustingly brutal. Like, where like you might get a little bit fucked up watching it. Like that's that kind of movie.
Yeah, it's about the Germans taking over a small Russian city. That's gonna be nasty. They were fucking nasty.
But apparently, it's like it's that's war, man. Like, you know, it's not.
That is war.
It's not like the Hollywood, like it's sensationalized where all the main characters somehow live and like there's lots of people dying and
there's a lot of like rough parts of like Schindler's List and like
I was just gonna say that.
Those are hard to watch, man.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie 1.5 times, and it's like that's not a movie that I'll ever go back to.
Schindler's List or Saving Private Ryan?
Schindler's List. I love Saving Private Ryan because there is that Hollywood element where like you know there's certain points that I find, you know, like comedic and whatnot. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But
they just throw those like
Schindler's List. Once you've seen a kid hiding in a toilet getting shit on, it's you know, it's hard to go back to that and be like, you know what, that's a Sunday afternoon, I'll watch Schindler's List.
Yeah. We had to watch that in social studies class.
I went on a big like indie film kick and watched a lot of things that like are a lot of the time it seems to be about like children and really abusive or really fucked up living situations. And like, you know, you watch it just to be like, okay, well, where's this really going? And sometimes it's too much. Or sometimes it's like, whoa, this is a little extreme. Like there's lots of films like that. And sometimes it works for people. Sometimes, you know, you want that not because it's what you're after to view, but because it's making you change your position or opening your eyes to something that you didn't really realize was real. Like if things can make you it's just hard to put into words with the feelings that movies and films can emote, regardless of whether the subject matter is appropriate.
Well, I think they emote and they make you feel like anything, like every kind of emotion you can. Those are the best kind of movies where you can feel any kind, like all the emotions in like one movie. That's the best kind of movie.
You know what's a good one is Ladder 49 for emotions. I guess that's probably like not really super emotional, dude. But I was like, wow, fuck, it's a pretty emotional movie right there.
Yeah.
You know, like he's got his like life and his family, and you know, like it starts out like the first scene is him like in the building that's burning down around him, and it was a good movie, that one.
I just finished a book for my that's the last book I had to read for my children's literature class, and it's called Daniel's Story, and it's basically about this kid who like lives through the worst parts of the Holocaust, and he's like a Polish Jew, and it's basically his travels through all the ghettos and the concentration camps of wartime Poland and Auschwitz and Germany, and I cried a bunch of times reading that book, and it's pretty disturbing, but it's a book that was made for children.
Really?
But it's considered a children's novel.
Leave it to a Canadian to put something that bleak out and give it to kids.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Which I guess as like an educational kind of book for children, I kind of see the point, but at the same time, it's kind of like, wow, like.
Aren't all their stories about children going through war? Like,
I guess so.
I read one of her books. Like, fuck was it? I can't remember. I recognize the author name.
Carol Mattis.
Most of her stuff, I think most of her stuff is kind of super depressing. Kids go through some other shit.
I think so, yeah. But yeah, that was the last book we had to read for like class, and so I guess it made it a little even harder because we're kind of fucking trapped inside. And I'm not equating what I'm going through with that even a little bit. But I'm not even a little bit, not even remotely. But at the same time, like the emotion I felt reading that was, I guess, like
you had a lot of
emphasized. But it was emphasized because because of the kind of like distance that we're all experiencing right now. Not that it's anywhere near anything that happened in that book, or any equate to anything that happened to that. But like, it's just I think it affected me more.
It gives you something to relate to, however insignificant that relation
absolutely.
is. It kind of puts you in it helps put you in someone else's shoes.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, that's
at least
kind of
but
it's a very good book. I do recommend it, but it's bleak and it's about the Holocaust.
Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I was just gonna say that's that's why I go into a movie or a book, hoping that it's going to elicit like that kind of an emotion, because you can't, and I think maybe like I watch and read things like that, it almost is like, well, they had to go through it, so the least I can do is, listen to their story. And
right. Well, if something can elicit like a shifted your opinion too, it can, the smallest things can make the biggest impacts in our lives. And sometimes it's just something that kind of you could watch a movie and it could change your perspective and it could change the way you live the rest of your life. Something so small as just a film, right?
Oh, 100%. I remember the first time I watched. It's called All Quiet on the Western Front, and it's about a few German soldiers who they were in school and the war starts. So of course, they happy-go-lucky sign up, and you go through the movie with their story. And I think I was in grade 9 when I first saw that movie, and it was like I had always very much been into, war and, but it was always like those happy-go-lucky Marines coming home. And
Yeah.
but then you see that movie, and like the last scene is like, I think it's like a day before, like, they're supposed to go home, and like the one, like one of the main characters gets killed. And it totally flipped the script on what I thought about when I thought about, like, war. Like,
well, it humanizes the quote unquote monsters, right?
yeah,
Everyone's
absolutely.
on a side, and everyone's in a situation, and these, a lot of people that signed up to be in that regime weren't thinking about the regime. They were like, "Oh, my country needs me. Shit, I better jump to it." Not thinking about what's actually happening, just thinking like, "Oh, well, my country needs me. Like, what am I to do? I'm a young, able-bodied man, and I will stand for my country."
Yeah.
There's
a great scene in Band of Brothers, if you've ever seen it, where it's like they just invaded Normandy, and they pass like a bunch of like these captured German soldiers, and one of the guys is like, "Where are you from, son?" And he, like, the guy's like, he says somewhere like Iowa, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And like, you had American boys who were going over to Germany to sign up because they
Iowa.
That's that Spielberg.
Is it? No, it's true. No, it's true.
Right?
It's true. It's very true.
But that's that Spielberg produced miniseries, right?
Spielberg Hanks. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You have. Do you have that? I feel like
I do have it.
Okay, I must have watched it when you were living with me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I remember like the tin box, like it's a metal box set that you have, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah. I have.
It like opens like a fucking
Yeah. That was really solid, actually. I was kind of obsessive about World War II back in those days too.
Oh man, it used to be all about World War II.
I still have like an 18-book hardcover series on Nazi Germany.
Yeah. It all ended when I saw Platoon for the first time. Once I saw Platoon, Vietnam became like the conflict.
No shit. I can't wait to lend you Tiger Force.
Oh yeah, shit.
Collecting ears and shit. Fuck yeah.
There's a couple of good documentaries on Netflix. I think one's just like the battles of, or like World War II in color, and then the other one's like the greatest battles of World War II in color.
Yeah.
And they're fascinating to watch because you learn a shit ton about massive turning points in the,
like the Battle of Midway and shit like that.
Yeah, like and it goes like, it's not just like the Americans. They go to like, well, I guess like the Battle of Midway had Americans in it too, but like there was a lot of Australians going up that way, right?
Yep.
And like it just tons about everything, like, and even like going into Africa and stuff with like Rommel and stuff like that. But like just huge, like Battle of the Bulge, and like how like D-Day happened, like because like Germany thought that they were going to come across it. Like there's a smaller channel from England to France. Like it's like way smaller than Omaha Beach and like Juno Beach, and like where they all actually did land. There's a smaller, like, I don't know how much, but like the distance is way less. And they went, yep, that's where they're going to cross. And then they like, even like the Allies, they built like inflatable tanks and inflatable Jeeps, like all this.
Right, the cutouts and the inflatable shit.
All this fake shit, and they dropped like aluminum foil into the water.
They scared troops away with fucking farcical nonsense.
Yeah, they dropped aluminum foil into the channel at the where like it was the lowest distance between England and France, and then when the German planes flew over, their radar picked up. Like, oh shit, there's boats there, but it was just fucking foil. And then they also like, so then with the day that they were going to launch from England and go into Normandy, they also launched, like they put like all these planes, and like they dropped they had a name for them, but they just dropped fake people all behind enemy lines. They dropped them everywhere, so all the Germans were like, fuck, they're just launching, there's fucking troops everywhere. So like they were calling all their troops, which they were expecting an invasion, so they had them all stationed around that whole area where like all of them everywhere. And then so they started pulling troops away, because all these fucking planes were dropping troops behind enemy lines. And but they were just fucking fake. I think they dropped they dropped real people, and then like the Nazis were radioing like, yep, there's actually troops here. And then the other ones were fake, and then they were like, well, there's not actually troops here, but the whole while that's going on, the boats are landing on Omaha Beach and Juno Beach and all this stuff. Like the Canadians are landing on Juno Beach, and like they're all just fucking. But the Germans they're split, just like they're split. I think a few years before. When the fuck did Stalingrad happen? That was before 1944? So
the trials of Stalingrad happened.
Like the battle.
Okay, yeah.
So I think the battle was before, because I think June 6, 1944 was D-Day. It was fucking Normandy. I think that happened way before, I think, Stalingrad. But that was the same thing. Like Germany's army was split, and then now Germany's army was split again because they were all going inland and trying to defend the beach. It was just, these fucking documentaries were super cool to watch.
Which documentaries are these?
They were like the World War II in color and the greatest battles of World War II in color, I think. They're on Netflix, both of them. And they just, it's like an hour and a half or something, or 2 hours, however long, for each battle. And
you both should look for the documentary. We did not grow old, or We Do Not Grow Old.
Is that the Michael Moore one?
It's Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson, okay.
Peter Jackson made a World War I documentary.
Okay.
And he basically took like World War I footage and he colorized it, but it's amazing. It's a really high quality documentary, and it's basically just the stories of the soldiers. Like, it's just them living their day-to-day lives, and there's narration of like surviving World War I veteran interviews. I'm assuming from like the 60s and 70s when they were interviewed, because they're probably not alive anymore. And it's just a really well done, beautiful documentary. And it was really impressive how he went from like black and white and color, black and white graded film to like color. And he just like converted it to color, and it's amazing. But you guys should both try to find We Do Not Grow Old.
All right, I think I will try to find that.
It's excellent. I'm gonna double check it out. I'm gonna double check the name of that, but I'm pretty sure it's called We Do.
Or like They Will Not Grow Old, or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write it down.
But I'm gonna double check. And that's only an hour and like a half, Tyson. You could probably manage that one.
5 hours you asked me to watch now. 3.5.
I was gonna recommend the Ken Burns documentary about the Vietnam War, but that's like a fucking 10-hour fucking romp through the 50s and 60s, and I don't think
the Peter Jackson doc is called They Shall Not Grow Old.
They Shall Not Grow Old.
My mistake. They Shall Not Grow Old.
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna check that out.
But yeah, Daniel's definitely, you should check that out, because I know you're super into the war documentaries and stuff. And Tyson, if you have time and you're not busy with your family or work, you should try to check that out as well.
Oh, hey, I'm still busy with my family. Sorry, Thomas, no lunch today. I've got to watch this Peter Jackson documentary.
You're on your own. Here's a couple of cheese sticks and a fucking hot dog. There.
Tommy would love that. What are you talking about? That would be like the best lunch ever.
Too. Fuck. A couple of cheese sticks and a hot dog? Fuck.
Man.
Yeah, there's a lot of good World War II documentaries out there, man.
There is. And honestly, and I'm thinking about it, and I do kind of agree with the whole, like, you should be able to watch what you want, and you should be able to produce the kind of video material you want. And I think that applies to nearly everything except for the Tiger King.
Well, you can't.
I don't understand why this is the most popular thing on.
Neither do I, man.
Because it came out when everyone went on quarantine. You could have put out fucking Baby Genius season 3 the second quarantine started, and that would be #1 on Netflix.
That show, there's nothing redeemable about that show.
No,
there's literally no good element in that show. I watched that whole car crash.
I beg to differ.
It's
ridiculous.
Is it entertaining? It's not entertaining. It's entertaining, but then when you really think about it, you're like, but like the animals are like, nobody talks about the horrible things that are done to animals. It's just this fucking mulleted idiot shooting his mouth off.
Are those animals gonna get sent back to fucking India where it's asbestos factories and shit? No, that's not. It's not. They're not.
They were probably happier there.
Those generations of tigers have been dead. Like the tigers that are there were born into that captivity, and it's shit. It is shit. But also, that show is not about tigers.
I know.
No, that show is about
that's
three
kind of
dudes.
my that's
Very
kind of my issue with
misleading
it.
in the title.
Why is that show not about the fucking tigers?
No, that show had nothing to do with the
Because that's
animals
not
or
what that
tigers.
show was supposed to be about.
Yeah, dude, you want
why.
tiger shows? Go to PETA's website and watch that garbage.
That show was like, watch these three dudes get married, and then also watch like maybe
And they're not even gay.
Yep.
His fucking husbands, they're not even gay.
Dude, meth addicts will do a
And, no,
lot.
and then it was like,
Dude,
watch
meth addicts
maybe,
will do a lot for meth.
and then it was like, watch maybe this woman murdered her husband.
She
probably.
totally murdered her husband. I can't believe we're talking about.
See,
Is this not
that's
like making a? This is it's making a murderer. It's the new making a murderer.
like it's just
You
this
know?
drama. It's pure drama. It's
Yeah.
that's all it is.
Dude, it's yeah, but you
the
know
whole
what?
thing is
If I
drama.
was a filmmaker who was going to investigate this wild character who owned a tiger farm, and then while I was making this documentary, one dude accidentally shoots himself. He runs for fucking president, and this whole thing, like, dude, he was doing like a piece on this crazy dude who's at a war with this like rescue chick.
Animal chick. Yeah.
Dude, if I was-
you go to her place and all the tigers are still in fucking cages. The only difference is she ain't breeding them and she ain't letting kids touch them when they're young.
And then other fucking dude
difference.
who's like a polygamist and he's got a tiger farm somewhere too. And
Yeah, dude, he's got a sex cult for sure.
Yeah,
And but also each one of his wives has a house and he has a couple hundred acres.
That doesn't make it
guy's
better.
No, I just like that life would be pretty all right.
So you want to be a Tiger King wife?
All your wives have their own fucking house. that alone, right there, done.
Yeah, no, that it was well edited and it was well put together.
Except for this,
to get
this scene.
What?
The jet ski scene where that like the fat rat guy is just like, hold on a sec, and then they've just got like the and he's on the jet ski.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I
laughed at
didn't
that,
finish
actually.
it. I didn't finish it. I got
Did
like
you
halfway.
watch?
I got like
Did you
halfway
watch
through and
Fahrenheit?
I went like, this is.
Dude, most of those people are genuine
Yeah.
people who have a job and they care about the animals that they were working with.
Do
One of those
they?
people
Yeah,
got
but
their
it was
arm
like,
ripped off and went back to work because they gave a shit
Yeah,
about
she's
what they were
fucking
doing.
Crazy. Holy fuck.
He.
I think it was a girl, wasn't it?
No, it's a he.
No, it's a girl
is a
who
girl,
identifies
but-
as a man.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a
okay.
girl. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But like, no, I think all these people cared about their job. They got swept in. There's an after show where they talk to people after the documentary came out, and most of them are like, "Oh God, this is embarrassing. Like this was our life for like years and years. It wasn't that fucking crazy to us. Is what we did." And they were all like, "Yeah, no, he was a fucking asshole. I was there because I loved my job or I cared about the animals." Like that's what most of the people that were involved in that documentary were
And
there
yet
to do.
they didn't stop him from being a crazy asshole. They
What
just
are
you
went
gonna
along
do?
for the ride.
They were still doing their fucking job and taking care of the animals. What do you expect? Not everyone just has an option to say no to their situation and move on to something different.
Yeah, but you
Most
know what
people are
bothered
kinda
me
stuck.
is like they were like, yeah, we're getting paid almost nothing, and we work like 23 hours a day. But you know, what are you gonna do? Like, well,
All the meth you can handle.
yeah,
Though.
like you're
I
gonna
mean,
quit your fucking job because that's complete garbage. You should.
Yeah,
There's
like-
laws
Dude,
against that.
also, on top of that, America is very fucking different than Canada.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're telling
They still
me-
have minimum wages that are like $4.
Yeah, but you can't fucking make them work 23. Like nowhere. Like you
Yeah,
can't.
you
Yes,
can.
everywhere,
America,
dude.
not in
America. Yeah, you
everywhere in
fucking can.
America.
I don't.
The
I don't
American
know,
dream
man.
is dead. I don't know if it was.
I don't
ever
know,
even
man, like-
born.
There's
You,
no
you
American
can do it. You
dream.
can do it here in Canada too. I mean, there's mucky business
There's a lot of
owners
shady shit.
There is.
all
but,
over
like,
the world.
as long as you
I
know your
mean-
rights, you can
But,
just be
but
like,
you get
nope.
you get a place with that kind of urban congestion and 300 million people.
Especially
it's a different
Florida?
fucking world, man.
Oh,
Well, like the southeastern part of America seems kind of weird.
Look, America. I know it seems pretty third world right now, but like I
No,
still
it's not
think-
even right now, dude. People are still making $3 an hour working in fucking restaurants. Like that's a real thing.
I know, like but like I still don't think that they could make you work 23 hours a day or
they
whatever.
can.
the
They
fuck they
can. They can.
If
Because
they-
if you're so, say you're an illegal immigrant going into the U.S., right, and you're going to be a dishwasher at a restaurant. Absolutely, the employer can now hold you under his thumb because he has your immigration in his hands. So once you bitch about your wage, well, then you're about to go back to the, unfortunately, the Latin American country that you came from.
The next
ISIS
man up.
You know
is
what?
really thinks.
Like you just and that point, you just fucking walk across the border and go, thank fuck.
That's not an option for people in these places, dude. It's
Dude,
not
that shit happens in this town that we live in.
Yeah, man.
You know as well as I do, there are business owners in this town who are, you know, God bless them, but they're less.
They're extortionists.
They're less than
because it's
honorable.
a transient-based town where you're going to get your winter workers, and then you're going to get your summer workers.
So you don't really give a fuck. And then
all the people that get fired a day
different.
before the bonus cutoff in this town, it happens every season.
Yeah, I know it does.
In Lethbridge, there was a bunch of illegal workers. There was a fucking Burger King near one of the schools that I went to that got shut down because they were housing illegal workers in the basement and like super abuse. Jesus. Like they were just like, yeah, you're here, so you have to do what we say, and you're not allowed to leave the premises, kind of shit.
I know
that shit happens everywhere, but in the States, it's worse because it's easier to govern 30 million people than it is 300 million people.
I know that here in Jasper, I had a friend who worked for a company in town, and that company, he worked like Christmas and New Year's and like all these holidays, and he got paid 8 hours of straight fucking time. And he was like, whoa, what the fuck? And when he went to said company about it, the company went, you know, like, that's what you get paid. That's what you get paid. Tough shit.
There were all sorts of loopholes about that.
Yeah.
Exactly. There were loopholes that the business owner, they passed recent laws like this year, I believe, about that. Like you have to pay overtime and all that shit. And then I'm pretty sure the conservative government did something about that and made it like, well, you know,
you don't really,
Alberta.
But so this guy, this friend of mine, he ended up being like, no, fuck you. I'm getting my fucking overtime for that shit. I worked like Christmas, I worked New Year's, I worked all this shit, and I worked all these extra hours because like at the end of the year when he did the math on it, he was like, fuck, they owe me like $4,000 in overtime. And he's like this fucking company in town is just fucking stealing that from me for their bottom line, and just they don't give a fuck about me because they know if I quit, there's going to be like 3 other people who want the fucking job.
And that's
what it is. Common thing here. That's
that's exactly how it was. So he ended up quitting, but he took the guy to court, and the labor board was like all over it. They were like,
he got a $3,000
He got almost all of what he was owed. At the end of the day,
I remember that shit.
Yep. At the end of the day, he got almost all he was owed. But he drove all the way to Calgary one time, and when he got to the fucking court, the guy he got there, and they were like, oh yeah. The other guy called and he said he can't make it. So like and so he came back. He came home. He was so mad. He's like, that was just out of my pocket, like $300 to drive there and stay like 2 nights there, and then drive home.
That's the plight of the little man.
Yep. And like,
you know,
he was
but he got something out of it.
At the end of the day, he did.
And that's what you have to do, and that's what I think. And if for small towns.
No, you got to fight.
All over North America, they're not expecting anyone to fight back. So when you do fight back, you're probably going to get paid out.
And these standards are so much lower in the States, like so much lower. Shannon and I were looking at like state by state minimum wage, and it's governed independently by the states. And like the lowest one, I think, is like Kentucky or something. It's like $4.35 an hour. $2. Yeah, if you're a server, it's
$2 an hour.
What the
Dude,
fuck?
if you're a server, it's $2 an hour. If you don't work in a service industry, it's like $4 an hour.
Fuck.
Like this is a real thing because it's governed by the state. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like there's a national minimum wage,
why,
but the states have like different legislation. We were reading about it the other day, and it was mind blowing.
That's why you can watch like a house buying show on like HGTV, that's like in
I
the
can't
States
fucking
somewhere.
watch those shows, man.
But,
I hate
like,
those shows.
like they go one of two ways, and the one way is like they're like average couple. They're like, yeah, we got like 80 grand, and like, well, the average house price here is 64 grand, and you're like, well, fucking holy shit.
Yeah, where
And
the
it's like,
fuck are they living?
yeah,
And it's
and
a
it's
nice
like
neighborhood with
and
a
it's
school and kids.
yeah, and it's like a great fucking big yard. And then the other one is like, yeah, we have a budget of 2.5 million, and I stay at home and I do blogs online, and
I'm
my
a
wife is a
shrimp
professional. Yeah, I'm a shrimp salesman, and like,
Yeah.
and my wife's a
Now wait now, because you can't really take like a fucking influencer, and I'm doing the air quotes here, to task, because unfortunately that's a major stream of income if you got like the goods when you live in a place like Kentucky, or say like a place like here where they have that bubble that you live in, where they can say like, well, that's the way we do things in Kentucky, and if you don't like it, get out of here. And it's the same for Jasper as well. You don't like the way we do things in Jasper, Edmonton is that way, and Calgary is that way. And
Right, but I think the housing market's way different in Canada than it is in the States as well. Like
But
you
if
can
it's
buy
vastly
affordable
different.
housing in a lot of places in the States.
It's vastly
it's-
different in this town too. Like,
Yeah,
vastly
I
different.
know, and it's
yeah.
a whole different set of glasses you're wearing when you live in this town. Going, well, I make $15 an hour. My rent is over $1,000 a month for a 1-bedroom unkempt apartment, and houses are $750,000 to start. So you're
That's
never
for
going
a
to own
half
place.
duplex.
But like, even in a lot of cities in Edmonton, Calgary, like that, the housing market houses are expensive in Canada comparatively. Like. They're single parents in the States who can afford to have a house, and that kind of shit blows my mind when I know what kind of money they're making too.
Where in Alberta is really cheap housing, like to buy a house, but probably, and it's actually kind of weird because it's a university town, but Camrose,
Yeah,
Camrose, it's a
Is it?
university
Is it?
town. Yeah, like the houses are high 100,000s, mid 200,000s.
yeah. That was your sister's first house, was there? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Lethbridge too, but like there's the opportunity thing, and Lethbridge is a scummy fucking city, so but like
Camrose
you
is
can get
very
houses
nice.
for cheap. Yeah,
But
Lethbridge
there's
has
not-
nice places, but
What are you gonna do? Like, I don't know. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I don't
Camrose. Work at the university.
Yeah, isn't Camrose like more or less a retirement community as well?
I don't know. I think it's kind of like a mix. Like, I think it's starting to get kind of younger.
yeah, because it's the university, like a collegiate level, post-secondary town, but I think it's not a young town either. Like
I think
people have been there for a long time.
the university
just-
students kind of go to university there for like 4 years, and then they kind of stay. Some of them,
Yeah, because
Because
they
it's
can
a-
afford to buy a house and
Yeah.
pay their student loans at the same time.
and it's
Yeah.
a nice town. Like, it really is. It's a really nice town. It's better than a lot of what you're gonna get in Alberta somewhere, right? Like,
well,
Yeah, like my mom's got an affordable house, but the house is shit, and it's in like on the verge of kind of a sketchy neighborhood.
mm,
Like it's not terrible, but like growing up there was pretty scary sometimes.
Mm.
While growing up,
Fucking-
the years I spent there,
fucking Lethbridge.
place is shit. It's pretty though.
It's not so bad here, but like, honest to God, like if you've grown up here your whole life, like I think people that came here in the 80s and all bought houses, and like we're all just like, wow, this is the greatest town in the fucking world. And they all made these great friends and had this great life, and they all just bought houses and raised families here and continued having a really great time.
Keep in mind,
But it's not like that anymore. Like it's a different
keep in
time
mind it
now.
wasn't like that back then either. Like to think about it, it really depended on the position that you had when you were living in this town. Like
I don't know, man.
my
Like-
folks lived in my folks were in the service industry. Like my old man worked for Jasper Concrete, and my mom fucking folded laundry at the JI. And once the rent at Aspen Gardens, when I was young, got to $800, they couldn't afford to pay the rent because me and my sister were there, and rent was $800 25 years ago in those places, and they couldn't afford that because my mom was making $4 an hour, and my dad was probably making $8.
Mm,
Like because that economic disparity is prevalent no matter where and when. There's always the people that people make money off of, and this town is no different. It's become more prevalent nowadays, but back then, like even in the 80s, man, like
it wasn't as bad.
My grandma did well.
Like
my
Jasper,
grandpa did well, but like his shop went under when things got more expensive and cost of living went up and business started going down. Like it happens for everyone here. Because you and I were on different spectrums growing up, and we have very different views of how this town is.
Yeah, but Jasper was never like look at all the people that came here, and like they all can own a house. Like all the people that were, 20s, like late 20s in the 80s. They all just bought houses and raised families, and they all were working maintenance places and working.
Yeah, but they can't really go anywhere else, though. They're
not all of them.
Kind of stuck here.
Not all of them, but like there was a lot of them. Like a lot of houses, like old guys in town now, like they I came here in 1977 and I never left.
Yeah, my grandma built her house for $30,000. She claims half of that was rum, and she sold it for $750,000.
Yeah,
and then bought a place in Nova Scotia with like a duplex, an acreage, an orchard, and a century home on it for like $120,000.
Yeah, it's mental.
But there's no work on the East Coast, so like it's an affordable place if you already have money.
And you don't need a job, yeah.
But my grandma also worked her fucking ass off, so just to put that caveat in there, it's not like she didn't.
But this town, and now today more than ever, this town is a business. It's not a town. It's not a place for people to live. It's not a community. It's a business.
Well, like I mentioned, the letter we got from our landlords.
Yeah. Whatever's good for the business.
Landlords have bills, so pay your rent. It's like, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, whatever's good for the business that's it. That's all that matters to Jasper.
Yeah, it's not good for
I'll go even further and a little bit more disgusting and use the word brand.
Yeah,
it is a brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a branded business.
If you can get advertisements in like friggin' little hamlets in Europe, you're a fucking brand.
Yeah, and
this town from when I moved here like 12 years ago, even from 12 years ago, complete 180. Like,
it's not even the same. It's not even close.
Yeah.
And it's still up its own ass about everything. Like, it's still up its own ass about everything. Like how wonderful and how venture beyond it is. But don't step off the trails. Don't pick
Jasper,
up any pine
wonderful
cones.
by nature. Also, we'll sell out to a corporate entity that builds a fucking walkway over a place that was just
for the right amount of money.
Beautiful.
We're not nature anymore. It's a business, and it's just gonna get worse.
And good luck trying to sell your house, because if the people you're selling your house to don't live here and contribute to the community,
there's one real estate provider in this town that I know who runs my apartment, who I think is going to be hurting quite a bit.
Yeah,
from his bungled condo building.
That dude bites off more than he can chew notoriously. Like, I fired him from a business management project that was ahead of for a time. He doesn't know how to manage. He takes over too much stuff and then can't handle it.
It's a lot of work, man.
So is he just gonna get fired because he's not like the owner? He just is I guess the manager. It'd be like the same as if you were like a manager of a restaurant and you botched your job, you get fired. But the restaurant is still
goes away, and all of a sudden those bills get harder to pay.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
it's not fair.
Well, no, it's not fair. But
but it's hard in this town because it when I was growing up here, it was like a family town. Like where when you went to rent a movie that was 14A at the store, they would call, they wouldn't even ask you.
They'd call your mom.
They call your mom. They wouldn't ask you what you're.
Is this okay if he's getting this?
Yeah, I would put the movie on. They'd be like, Tyson, are you allowed to rent this movie? And I'd be like, yeah, of course. And they'd be like, hang on. And they wouldn't ask me what my phone number was or nothing. They would just dial it and then be like, hey, hi, Tyson's here. He's going to rent this movie. Is that okay? And they'd be like,
Tyson's trying to rent Naked Gun 2.5. Is it all right that he?
I was like, Super Jugs 14.
Super Jugs.
Yeah, 14. Oh, he must be of a good age then.
And I totally hope the video stopped back in the early 80s, early 90s had a porno section.
They did. The horror and porn. There was horror and porn in the same.
The video stop had a porn
that's
section.
Awesome.
It's where the Famoso restaurant is now.
I feel like that's why I like horror movies.
That's great.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I like horror movies, because I'd always be like, oh, there's jugs.
Yep.
They had boobs up there and leprechauns down there.
Nice.
It was great. Back when the video stop was like a double wide, when it was
Right,
that
it was
whole
so
top floor.
big.
And you
Oh
could
man,
go
that place
anywhere.
was awesome.
Yeah, that whole top floor was just movies. They were everywhere.
And now it's a friggin' source. Sorry,
Yeah.
the source.
Yeah, it's the source now, and they still rent movies, and they still do a ton of other wicked shit there.
They do.
He's fucking awesome, man. He did a home delivery for us like a couple
Kevin's
weeks ago.
Oh,
Kevin's
nice.
an
We
awesome
actually
dude.
share a birthday. He and I. We have the
Nice.
same birthday.
He'd
And,
be a
yeah,
good birthday bud to have.
We asked him like we wanted a couple things, and then we were like, well, let's get some of those $2 Hot Wheels for Tommy. So we told him to pick 5, and then he was, just don't double up. He hit it perfectly. Like that guy is he's awesome.
Dude, no, Kevin is an amazingly nice human being. He's a wonderful
really
person.
nice.
I got a lot of respect for that man.
Hey, that's the good stuff.
That's the good stuff. Are we having one more shot for the road?
Holy fuck you, man.
Yeah, it makes sense. It seems like it's coming near road time there. We've all yelled and screamed, and
You love that Pink Whitney wheels. I can't even
Dude,
I brought it over, and you were like, and now look at you chugging it out of the bottle like a
Dude, it's the same bottle from like a month ago.
Yeah, dude, and this is honestly the least amount of Pink Whitney I've gone through in a night. Like last week, I drank a whole fucking bottle, but I have a problem.
a problem.
The problem is it's too much Pink Whitney and
No,
Dude, too much.
The first 2 weeks of the shutdown where I wasn't working, I rediscovered alcoholism. I'm pretty sure I went over this already.
fair enough.
And so you crashed the car for a couple weeks there when?
Oh, I didn't crash the car.
No, okay.
No, that was Shannon.
Oh, Shannon crashed the car. I can see that. I can see Shannon crashed the car.
Yeah, now I have to walk everywhere.
Nice. Walk-ins for suckers.
Yeah, well, look at me, I have a wheelchair.
Well, it doesn't help me now. My fucking wheelchair touches everything. I'm afraid to go anywhere.
Dude, I saw that other little kid in the wheelchair, the one that you hate.
I
You
don't hate. I
You
don't
have like
hate.
fucking wheelchair fucking
Dude, yeah,
fights,
man.
or-
Well, dude, that did almost happen one night
Wow.
at Pete's, which, you know what, Justin, maybe for episode 10, you share the story of the near fist fight at Pete's with the other crippled guy.
I love
it.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that.
That other person is on Facebook all the time, and he's a fun Facebook read.
Sweet. Well, let's bring it to the big episode 10.
Special episode 10, the wheels fist fight.
It was more of a me getting tipped over situation. But yeah,
Well,
I
let's
just
not
expect-
spoil it for
I
everybody
expect
here.
sparks and spokes.
we'll tell the story. We'll tell the story.
I feel like maybe episode 10 is called Sparks and Spokes.
We can do that. Yeah. Next week could be story time. We could all have stories to tell.
Oh,
Let's all have stories about how we met the glorious leader. How about we do that?
Jesus fucking Christ,
man.
God.
No, that's no.
Well, you know what? Next week we'll just
Are you?
the craziest fucking shit that we ever been a part of.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm gonna
Oh,
take a couple
buddy.
steps down for that.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to jail.
Well, you can
Statute
censor
of
it.
limitations, man.
Yeah,
This
dude,
is
Eric
on the
was part
internet,
of some
dude,
of those
forever.
stories,
If
so
you
I'm
want me
sure
to
he'd
get-
appreciate that.
If you want me to get the beep button and I'll fucking censor all the shit out every time you say something,
Oh, you fucking nerd! You would have a beep button.
I'll go get one.
I bet you will.
Yeah, what, like the 10-day delivery on Amazon
Oh
Prime?
yeah, right. I'll get one in 10 days. That's right.
Mhm.
So
All right,
are
boys,
you?
well, let's do a closing shot then, yeah?
Are we doing it? Yeah. Okay.
Let's do a closing shot, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, homies.
Cheers.
Felt like John Candy and CTV. The
When he's the chef there?
chef. I think his name was Dr. Tongue.
Was that it? Oh, fuck, man. I have flashbacks.
Would you like
to
some
that
more
shit.
pancakes?
Fuck, man. That and there was like the House of Dr. Frightenstein. That was an awesome sketch comedy.
Was it Frightenstein or Frightenstone?
It was Frightenstein yeah, it was Frightenstein because it was supposed to be like Frankenstein, and then like Vincent Price would read a poem every episode and shit. That was so
Glory,
good.
glory, Transylvania.
Yeah.
The hilarious House of Dr. Frightenstein.
Yes.
I don't recall John Candy being on that show.
No, he wasn't.
John
Just
Candy
like
was not in that show.
That and SCTV when I was growing up, man, like just the best. I'd wake up early and it's like, sweet, the hilarious House of Dr. Frightenstein, Griselda the Witch.
The Wolf Man, the DJ.
Oh my God, yes.
Dr. Julius Sumner Miller, the fucking like professor weirdo guy. Like he teach you like amidst this crazy Halloween themed Saturday morning kids show is this like eccentric algebra professor. Like Dr. Julius Sumner Miller. I'll never forget that.
Oh man. I don't know what
essential Saturday morning TV viewing along with WWF superstars.
I can't even believe that even popped up. Like what? Those 1970s, I think that was from. Like Jesus.
So man, late 60s, early 70s, absolutely.
That show was awesome. Just wonderful.
All right, boys.
Closing out on warm memories. That's nice.
Fuck yeah.
Let's call this motherfucker.
All right, boys. We're calling her.
All right, well, let's just go reverse order. It's been nice talking to you. I'm Squeed. Follow me on Twitter at SKWEED. Follow me on Instagram at SqueedLove, just 2 E's. And the Wheels Blues podcast, I'll try and be a little more active on that. It's just social media is kind of lame sometimes.
And where can we find that Instagram?
You can find that at Wheels Blues Pod on Instagram there. It's, it's all right. But if you're interested in our giveaway next week, you should definitely be following all of our social medias and keeping a close eye on all of that. So follow us on Twitter. As I don't know if Justin, our supreme executive leader, has made a fucking Facebook page yet, but once he does, he should post that.
He's had 2 fucking weeks. I don't think he's done anything.
Right? But you haven't watched Apocalypse Now, so you're not one to talk.
He has attempted to make a Facebook page.
All right, so like, share, and subscribe.
Feel
free to send us messages, send us an email, talk to us, whatever. We'd love to hear from you guys. And I was supposed to listen to a bunch of King of the Dot. Probably no one's going to understand what I'm talking about or something.
I know why. I know why you're talking about that.
2 Edmonton listeners, Justin and an Australian. But give a shout out to my boy Rob Kelly.
Yes, Rob Kelly.
I had a good conversation with him for like an hour and a half yesterday, and he doesn't understand the wrestling and the video games, but he still listens to us every week. So
he has some requests for us actually.
Yeah.
He's the only one that's put in a request for us to have a conversation.
Go through the proper channels.
He went to the Supreme Leader. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got.
Let's get to it on episode 10.
Yes.
We gotta change fucking Wheels' title here.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, much love. Thank you guys for listening.
And I am at Eric_83, and 500 views. Thank you guys, and thank you 3 dudes. And as always, you can find me at home, quarantining and isolating and doing my part to flatten that curve.
Atta boy. We love you for it. Happy belated, bud. I hope you're feeling good.
Happy belated.
I'm feeling great.
How are the ribs?
The ribs. So if I'm 37 years old today, my ribs are probably at a 67-year-old man's.
Oh, okay.
But we're getting that number down. We're getting that number right down.
Nice.
Would you say you're flattening the curve on your ribs?
I am. You know what? I'm actually bending the curve on those ribs because I think you want them a little bit of curve.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, a little bit.
So,
and I am at Tin Can Blues. You can find me at Tin Can Blues on Twitter. You can find our website is wheelsbluespodcast.wixsite.com/mysite. I know it's complicated, guys, but you can find it on the Twitter. There's a link right to it. Our Twitter is at wheelsblues. The website will have all our blog posts and everything that we're up to. A link to the podcast. You can listen to it right on our website. Follow the link. Get to it. Leave us some messages. Talk to us. We'll listen to you. Have at her. We love you.
And as always, I am at Mighty Wheels on Twitter and Justin Wheeler on Instagram and Facebook. And please follow the Wheels Blues podcast. Subscribe and smash and rate us 5 stars. And
Mighty
and also
Wheels.
thank you for the 500 listens.
Oh, thank you so
I
much.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
We love you
500
guys.
We don't know
Keep
why you're
listening.
listening, but keep it up.
All hail, mighty wheels. The mightiest of
Love.
wheels.